Hey everybody, Jeff Cohen here with Seller Labs, and I am joined by CJ Rosenbaum. CJ, how are you?
I'm doing really great, Jeff. Thank you very much for having me on.
Known CJ for a number of years. CJ and I speak at conferences. CJ travels around really the globe these days with offices kind of all over the world. And we're going to talk a little bit today about Amazon, suspensions, trademarks, protections, and things like that. So let's just jump into this. And, for people that there's a lot of fake information out there. And I'm not trying to get political now with fake news, but there's a lot of fake information out there of people posting about what Amazon's doing and what they're not doing. When things come to you, it's kind of gotten bigger, badder, worse. So what are you seeing in terms of Amazon with suspensions and, that type of stuff? What are you seeing today in 2019 that maybe you weren't even seeing before?
Well, I agree with you. We're going to stay away from the fake news. This is real news for Amazon sellers. What we're seeing from our perspective on the general plans of action, we are definitely seeing faster, quicker reinstatements.
Okay, so a plan of action for people don't know, that means you've had something happen to you. A plan of action is something that's written that you submit to Amazon with kind of you saying, what did I do wrong and how am I going to do better?
Yes, that is definitely Amazon's system has gotten better, but the overall view that we're seeing is an increasing ride of this brand-centric mentality that Amazon has adopted, starting, I guess, about 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, becoming more and more brand-centric. You got consumers up here, you got brands, the sellers are, a little further down the food chain when it comes to Amazon, but certainly they're becoming more and more and more brand-centric and protective of brands.
And you're considering a brand in this regard, anybody who has brand registry, right? So if you're doing RA, OA, private label, that's not really brand. It's once you actually have a registered trademark around your product that you've submitted to Amazon through their brand registry program, right?
I would even take it one step back, is really just creating your brand, even if you haven't had your trademark approved yet or even applied yet. Actually just developing that logo and starting to brand before you get the mark, even before in registry. Brands are, as soon as you're sort of labeling a product as your own, as certain benefits that you get by buying your particular type of pen, for example, or mug or water bottle or whatever it is, that's when your brand begins.
Okay. So essentially for Amazon sellers, they should be looking at it as, if I'm selling a private label product, I want to start building my brand around that product in some way, shape, or form, because the trademark process can take a little while, right?
Yeah, generally your trademark's going to take right around 9 months. We generally tell people 6 to 12 months, but it's usually right around 9. Sometimes the government people are busier. Sometimes, they're a bit faster, but you're really looking about 9 months between getting that application in online and getting your approval.
All right. So I know your answer is probably yes, but give me the other answer of no, which is, do I need an attorney to do a trademark for me? Or what's the process for getting a trademark? How do I, because that's like the big kicker, right? Like today, you have to have this trademark to get brand registry. Is that something somebody like me can do on my own? What's the benefit of hiring somebody to do it for me? Talk me through that a little bit.
All right. I hate the connotation of lawyers always looking for fees, because I'm not. Every single seller out there can apply for their trademark by themselves. No lawyer required. And in fact, even if you are insecure about trying to do it yourself, I encourage you to do it yourself, because if it gets kicked back, then a lawyer could jump in. But unless you're
talking about kickbacks, we've been through this process with Seller Labs. Kickback means that like somebody says, you can't have this brand or this mark. It's already, you now have to defend it or something like that. That's when you need to get a lawyer involved.
Exactly. It's called an office action. When there's any bump in the road with the USPTO, United States Patent and Trademark Office, it's called an office action. And then you may want to get a lawyer involved. But everyone out there, especially if it's just a word mark, like your shirt, famous, if you're trying to get just that word mark, just the word, do it yourself. USPTO.gov. You do not need a lawyer to do it. You can absolutely and should try and do it yourself.
All right. So the process is, I'm going to guess the process is fairly simple. You fill out an application, you define a little bit about what your business does. I know that it comes a lot down to like the category that you fill it in, and like how big you try to make the mark, or how you defend the mark, what you're trying to protect the mark around. And the mark that we're talking about here is when they talk about a mark, they're talking about not somebody that you want to get rid of. It's a logo, right? The mark, the mark of your logo. That's kind of the trademark that you're defending. You go through this 6 to 9 month process, and at the end of this process, you're successful. What does that mean besides being able to get brand registry? And I could go through the list for people that want to know, and we can talk about this in a second. Brand registry is a gating. Actually, Amazon says that brand registry is a bar for participation in a certain number of programs. Do you like that one? That's their technical language. Brand registry is a bar for participation. But beyond that, let's talk about protecting our product and our listing. Like, what can I do about that now?
Well, as soon as you get the mark, you have now developed intellectual property that you own, and you can invest in it, you can sell it, you actually own it. So now you've got your mark, you absolutely should apply for brand registry. And again, you don't need to hire anyone to do it for you. You can do the application all online, do it yourself on Amazon, apply for brand registry. And then you want to really start using it on your products. And as your products become more and more successful, you want to start building in protection so that other sellers cannot start selling, your widget. And that's really what you're doing. You're developing, then policing and protecting this brand that you are now developing.
And so once I have my brand, and give me some examples. Is this about like adding new features to my product that make my product more unique? Or is this about adding more color to my product? Like, how do I actually protect my product so that I don't get knockoffs? And if I get knockoffs, what do I do about that? Right? Because it's kind of like imitation is the best form of flattery, but like that also means that you've gotten to a certain size on Amazon, and now people are trying to knock you off and take away your market share.
The overriding issue is that you need to make sure that when a consumer buys the product from you, they're getting something or some benefit that they cannot get from another seller, from a hijacker. So it could be the warranty, that you will repair the product or bring it back up to specs in the original factory, which nobody else can do. It could be copyright material that comes along with the product. It could be things on your website if you have one, like a newsletter. It could be sort of the lifestyle that comes with the product. And each product is pretty easy to identify what you can deliver, but it has to be something different. And the legal term is materially different, okay, than from what a hijacker can deliver, even if they're getting the product from your same exact factory over in Asia. That's the overriding issue. Deliver something to that consumer that nobody else can deliver.
Awesome. Thank you, CJ. Tell people, how can they find you? I know it's AmazonSellerLawyer.com, right?
Yep, AmazonSellersLawyer.com. Sellers is plural, lawyer is singular. You can email me at cj@AmazonSellersLawyer.com. And also, unlike a lot of platforms out there like Amazon, you can actually call and speak with us. And it's 877-9-SELLERS. And we are happy to talk to sellers every day, no charge.
Yeah, I was going to say, one of the things I think that's kind of different about you than maybe some other, what differentiates you in the market from other people in the market is that you kind of do these free consultations. And I know that you don't take every client on, right? Like some clients are they're breaking the law, and they're breaking the rules, they're breaking the law, and you can't defend them. Some people, you think there's some other need that they have, and you send them other directions. So you kind of give people that, I'll say it. If you go to CJ, you're going to get the brutal, honest truth about whether he can help you with your problem or not. And so thank you for sharing today. Just to kind of recap, we talked about kind of what's new in 2019, what sellers are seeing in terms of suspensions that they're getting. We got into the trademark process. The recap of that really is that you should do it on your own. You can go to the uspto.gov website to start that process. And then once you got your trademark, it takes 6 to 9 months, you can apply for brand registry and then start to make your product unique so that you can start to protect your brand and make your brand materially different. That's the key word, materially different. So thank you, CJ, and look forward to bumping into you at a trade show within probably the next couple of weeks, since we see each other regularly. And thank you, everybody, for joining us.